Card, Serendipity, 2 copies of Fire Energy for Noah and for Alberto, 3 copies of Counter Catcher. Goodness gracious, let's see how that's going to pan out. That's all his copies of Counter Catcher, actually. Let's keep an eye on that. But here we go. Our top 4B feature match here in Utrecht is getting started with the Badoo face-off in the middle of the board. Alberto Conti starting his turn off there with a Buddy Poffin. And while he does that deck search there, Benjamin, why don't you talk to us about this Dragapult EX archetype?
So the Dragapult EX archetype, what Alberto's playing is the typical slow Dragapult, as we like to call it. This is a deck that likes to hide behind the security of the Itchy Pollen, delaying your opponent from setting up more efficiently, taking away their ability of playing trainer cards, or item cards, I should say, sorry, and just setting up your board slowly and surely. I think with Dragapult, you do not have any, well, in this typical list, you do not have any sort of acceleration cards like Crispin or Red Candy to accelerate the evolution or the energy attachment. You know, it's all about slow and steady with this archetype. I think with what you mentioned earlier with the 3 Counter Catcher being prized, this is a real important card for this archetype specifically. You know, you can tell that by having 3 in the deck, you know, that is a significant amount for any card, but that's exactly what you need in order to have those explosive turns like we've already seen on stream thus far. You want to be taking, you know, you're taking pressure, you're welcoming it, you're saying, yeah, okay, I can take a couple of knockouts, that's fine, but then I want to just jump right back in. I want to be using those phantom dives, I want to be disrupting as much as possible with Ino, with Counter Catcher, but you know, with none of them at your arsenal, it's going to be interesting to see how Alberto goes that way.
Yeah, as we do see the pass over to Noah as he does attach the Luminous Energy. Oh, hold on. That's not a support you want to see on your first turn of the game. No bench Pokemon, Ben. Nothing, just the Itchy Pollen and pass. Alberto Conti would love to try and seize and capitalize on this poor start. Block Scouting, letting you grab any 2 basic Pokemon or 1 evolution Pokemon. I'll grab the 1 evolution, that Draclo, which has a very good ability, might I say, which both players would love to use as much as possible. Recon Directive, then you look at the top 2 cards of your deck. 1 goes in your hand, 1 goes at the bottom.
Yeah, fantastic for Alberto. Really unfortunate for Noah. It's whether Alberto can capitalize on this poor start from Noah now. You know, we've got to keep the excitement going. I think with Noah, just having that boss, you know, is able to Itchy Pollen, is able to do at least something, but with no Dreepy on board, you know, and passing over, that cannot feel good. Not even a manual, well, you can't manually attach there.
Oh,
at
move
that point.
10 straight back.
Move
the
that 10 straight back.
And a retreat and Itchy Pollen straight back. Now, that's a little bit rude in my opinion. If your opponent hasn't had a chance to set up and then item lock them on their second turn of the game, what can do? Oh, it's a concession already. That might be one of the fastest games you've ever seen in the top 4. Alberto Conti takes a sneaky one and is currently 1 game up in our top 4B feature match here. 1 game away from the final. Poor Noah only got to play a single card and it was Boss's Orders. Didn't really get to consult the hand much there, but it couldn't have been very good.
Alberto sees this funny side of it. It's whether Noah does.
yeah, to be fair, that's
not
point.
The start you want in your top 4 game. You know, you've gone through, oh, well, he is laughing. Okay,
yeah, there you go.
We've confirmed they're both still having a fun time. You know, have you ever seen a Badoo donk? You know, it's
that's
super unfortunate for Noah, but Alberto just seeing, you know, can I capitalize on this? Going for the safer route instead of going for, you know, potential pass, just going through the retreat, going for the Itchy Pollen, start negating the ability to play item cards for Noah. You know, you've just started the Badoo, but then on your subsequent turn, not even able to play Buddy Poffin or Nestball or whatever it is. You know, super awkward. We see a judge swap potentially, I think there.
Oh, there we go. double swap. But look like Reese is leaving the frame for Martin Yanis, a previous World's Top 8 placement, I believe. Love to see him at the table. Everyone say thanks to your judges. Without them, we wouldn't be able to run these events. So massive shout out there to Martin Yanis. Love seeing the judges as well who have played the game and at the highest of levels. Now, if you're Noah, I'm thinking, right, it can't really get worse than that, right? So at the bare minimum, this game 2 is going to be an improvement on that. Whether or not, you know, that's going to be a good or a bad thing, I'm not sure. But let's see how this game 2 pans out. Looks like Alberto has got a mulligan there. In case you don't know, viewers, if you attempt to start the game of Pokemon 7-card hand, if you haven't got a basic Pokemon in there, you have to reveal your hand to the opponent. You then shuffle your hand away to draw another one. However, your opponent gets to start the game with an extra card in their hand.
Yeah, and that's something that Noah will welcome by the looks of it. I don't, it's either that he's reacting to his previous game or his current hand. I think I did see a couple of outs to some more Pokemon. I thought I saw a Dreepy in there as well. So hopefully Noah will have a better start than he did in the last game. Another mulligan from Alberto. No basic Pokemon, like you said, will have to shuffle up into the deck to try and find another hand with another basic Pokemon. But Noah will be welcoming this. More cards in the hand, more opportunity to get set up.
Yep, you know, if you're currently 1 game down in a top 4 match, well, how are you trying to improve your odds to win that game 2? How about give me some extra resources? You know, at any point, we need some supporters, some items, some Pokemon at the very least. And I just realized Alberto sort of got away with prizing 3 counter catcher by still stealing that game away in the last one, right?
Yeah, I mean, super fortunate that game didn't carry on, I guess, for Alberto. We do see the start there. No Dreepy, no... Oh, this is not a great hand, unless you're forced to go second.
Yeah, I was about to say,
have the Arven, right?
Yes. Will Noah opt to go first or second in the Pokemon TCG? If you lose the game, you can choose to go first, second, the next one. Double GP prize for Alberto. Dusclops, Counter Catcher, Dracloak for Noah. Not the worst prize cards in the world. Only 1 Fire Energy for Noah to work with, though. And Noah is... No, Alberto's going first. Okay, this could be a polar opposite of the last game. The pendulum of power swinging back the other way. At least we have a basic Pokemon. We do have Fez. You don't want to bench that now, though. So we're going to see the Luminous Energy. And it looks like a pass over to Noah now. Can he capitalize on Alberto's slow start? Turn attached to the active.
Yeah, Noah will be able to use that Itchy Pollen first, which is always going to be advantageous in this matchup. Does to go for the Ultra Ball there. I don't know if I saw a supporter in hand, actually. Here we see just prize checking, just going through all your Pokemon through the deck. Does play the Cleffa, so can get a Grasping Jaw at some point in the game if he wishes, but looks like he's eyeing up that Itchy Pollen. Could have gone for the Grasping Jaw if there was no more further outs to Pokemon, just to find some extra resources. At least he's got the security of knowing Alberto's had a pretty poor start here. Just having that Monkey Dory with the attachment, no way to find any Dreepy, no way to get set up any further, no way to accelerate that board state. And you imagine for Noah, it's just going to be a retreat in Itchy Pollen if no other further Pokemon is be able to find. And
I think because that last game was over so quickly, Benjamin, we didn't get a chance to talk about Noah's deck. It obviously is built around the Dragapult archetype, as we do say, going to hit the active for a lot of damage and, you know, set up bench KOs as well with Phantom Dive. But he does play the Dust Noir line. That's something that Alberto does not play. So that's our X factor there from Noah. The Dust Noir line, very useful. Dusclops has the Curse Blast ability. It lets you knock itself out. However, you get to place 5 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. Very good, especially in combination with Phantom Dive. And then Monkey Dory as well can get a little bit out of hand, which no, it doesn't play Monkey Dory, I apologize. However, there is Dusk Noir. Now, this is a scary Pokemon. Stage 2, Curse Blast. You can knock itself out. However, it puts 13 damage counters, Ben, on one of your opponent's Pokemon. That in combination with, you know, Phantom Dive into the active and on the bench and Hawlucha, it basically means none of Alberto Conti's Pokemon are safe.
Yeah, it synergizes really well with our Phantom Dive, just placing damage counters wherever you like and taking those big multi-prize knockouts. Importantly as well, for that Curse Blast, as we saw in Noah's last game, it does unlock all of the potential of Counter Catcher.
Yep.
Does play 3 Counter Catcher in the deck as well for Ino as well. So knocking your own Pokemon out isn't
the Professor's research and double Duskull there, sorry to interrupt, but
that's good.
Noah is how many extra cards has he played so far this game compared to the last game?
Yeah, no, of course. Here we see the double Duskull. I think I do like this, going for the double Duskull, only because, you know, one Dreepy doesn't sound fantastic, but coming up against a really slow archetype, you don't feel like there's that much in it, right? It's not too much of a threat on board at the moment for Alberto. In fact, it's just a mind bend that's going to be drowning you down if Alberto, you know, is forced to. But I think for Alberto, he's going to be thinking, oh, this is pretty awkward. How do I disrupt my opponent, get my own board set up? Is it just a fact of trying to find what you can in Itchy Pollen? Manual retreat isn't great either, but here we have Noah now. Does he retreat? Well, he's going to retreat in Itchy Pollen, you think.
Yeah.
Yeah, manual retreat from the Dreepy into the Badoo. And now for Alberto, what's more important, Shay, is that Arven is effectively turned off because you will only be able to find items with that Arven, and that is your only out to Pokemon. This is not a great position for Alberto.
Yeah, it looks like Alberto might have forgot his antihistamines before this top 4 match here. The Itchy Pollen might have stuck. Arven letting you grab an item and a tool card, but as you say, not as effective when you can't play the item. What is that?
I think he top decked another Arven.
Yes, I mean, it's 2 Arvens, a Night Stretcher and a Fez, basic energy rescue board, and a counter catcher. So we're just going to see the boss's orders into GP with no energy.
Does he choose a Mind Bend here?
I think you can actually take a KO, right? If you Adrenabrain plus Mind Bend.
Yeah, of course, yeah, you do have the Adrenabrain that is active with Luminous Energy.
But
isn't
going to spread it out instead?
I guess.
Don't mind it.
I guess this, limits Noah's ability to use Pheasantipity perhaps next turn.
True.
Just wants to spread some damage counters here on board, but for Alberto, just having that Arven in hand, not choosing to thin out the deck even further, just going for the boss's orders to get some damage on board, knowing that at least I have Mind Bend to add some pressure to Noah, forcing maybe a potential attack. Has the Pheasantipity on board now for Flip the Script to increase his outs to further resources to build up his own board state. But this isn't great. This isn't ideal, right?
And I just want to say, in case you're watching at home thinking, why on earth is that Dreepy facing the other way? Mind Bend does confuse the special effect confusion. What it does is if you choose to attack while confused, you have to flip a coin. If heads, the attack goes through. If tails, it fails, and you hit yourself. But here we're going to see a real cool card here via Arven, that rescue board. The Pokemon it's attached to gets 1 retreat cost less. What that basically means is no matter how confused that Dreepy is, it can come on home, get to the bench, recover, and then whatever Noah wants to promote, he can. Could be Badoo, could be Dreepy, could become a Dracloak.
Yeah, I think for Noah now, it's how can I just accelerate this board further whilst Alberto is having this poor game. I think it's just trying to capitalize on the time saving, knowing that Alberto doesn't have any sort of real threat on board. I think for Noah is just evolve into those Dracloaks, get those manual attachments up and running. Just trying to evolve into those Dracloaks to get those recon directives up and running and establishing this board state. I think a Curse Blast situation could be up and coming. I think that if you're able to Itchy Pollen once more and evolve these Duskulls into Dusclops, I think we could have a pretty quick game here. And Noah just having to navigate through that. Does have Ultra Ball in hand. Recon Directive just used there as well. Does have Rescue Board in hand now to retreat into that Badoo. Does have Psychic Energy for the attachments as well. So the pieces really are coming together.
Really are. This is really tough. We just saw in game 1, Alberto was able to steam ahead in game 2. It looks like Noah is definitely the driver's seat. We've said it before, though. Does still have to capitalize on the slow start. Alberto is no stranger to these top tables. We do see Recon Directive. That was Night Stretcher and a Dusclops. Dusclops is interesting, as we do see it hit the field now as well.
There is a world where Noah can win next turn now.
Yep.
I think just one more Itchy Pollen and seeing if Alberto can get out of it and find another Pokemon on board. Noah does have game next turn with the attachment now on that Dracloak. I think it's another Arven I think he drew there. This is not great.
Oh no, I think we're still on Noah's turn. Still, it hasn't attached yet. Yeah. Still on Noah's turn yet. That would be unfortunate for Alberto. Yeah, we are going to see it. We have to see a turn attachment. There we go.
Yeah.
And now we should see Itchy Pollen, 10 damage, which will come flying back. Oh, what was that? Was that a Jack? It was an Arven. It wasn't. Wow, you predicted it.
I predicted the Arven.
Wow,
there you go.
You need to get yourself a lottery ticket, my son.
I know, yeah.
Goodness. So, Arven, let's just search your deck for a tool card and an item. Now, you can attach the tool, obviously, but the item, while under Itchy Pollen lock, won't be able to get played.
I think the only thing that can save him is a Luxurious Cape. Luxurious Cape onto the Monkey Dory.
It buys you a turn, right?
Yeah, it does buy you a turn. At least it's not able to be Curse Blast by the Noir. I think the Dust Noir will use the 130 damage from Curse Blast onto the Monkey Dory for knockouts, and then if Noah is able to also use Hawlucha onto the Pheasantipity, will be knocked out by a Phantom Dive. I think that's the way to win it. Oh, and okay, no, yeah.
Bravery Charm
does also do the same sort of thing, yeah.
I mean, what this play does, because Bravery Charm is attached to a basic Pokemon viewers, it boosts the basic Pokemon attached to hit points by 50. What it does do, it stops you losing slower, faster I should say, but again, without any Dreepy development or energy attachments, we're not accelerating our win condition here, I feel. I guess we can Mind Bend and KO active Buddha at the very least.
Yeah.
Adrenabrain, move that 10 off.
We'll put that Monkey Dory now to 160 damage.
Hit points.
Hit points, sorry.
Yeah, you got it.
But I still think now with the Curse Blast, you still have game here if you're able to find the Hawlucha, if you can gust up that Pheasantipity as well. Put the Monkey Dory within range of the Curse Blast, of the Phantom Dive, right?
Yeah, that gets there. Oh, goodness, it does get there. Let's see.
Yeah, let's see if Noah finds the lines. Yeah.
So we need to find Dragon.
Oh, does have Hawlucha in hand. Does have the Hawlucha in hand.
So do we have access?
I think it's just Gust and...
Just got to swap that active. It looks like with that Iono being played, I guess Counter Catcher is actually currently live for Noah.
Yeah, the Counter Catcher is live with Alberto taking a knockout last turn on that Badoo.
So Counter Catcher, Night Stretcher, Dragapult EX is actually a win on this exact turn.
I think there's a boss's orders there.
Unfair Stamp, you could play that as well, funnily enough. Really unfortunate, but you could play that.
Thinning out the deck further with that Buddy Poffin, increasing your odds of finding what you need.
There is the Unfair Stamp. You can only play it if your opponent took a KO on their last turn. If they did, both players shuffle their hand away. You get 5, your opponent gets 2. Again, if we see Dragapult EX, Counter Catcher, Night Stretcher, that'll be it.
Yeah, and Noah didn't play the Hawlucha last turn. He chose the Ino before. Oh no, sorry. Did he?
Yeah, it was Hawlucha. Yeah, there was. Yeah.
Yeah, did choose to not play the Hawlucha straight away. Here we see.
Luxurious Counter Catcher. Oh, I don't think we do have Recon Directive though. There's Ultra
Finds
Ball.
The Ultra Ball.
So now we need Dust Noir or does second Dusclops get you there as well? It would, right?
Yes, the second Dusclops. Oh, and there's another Ultra Ball.
Right, so I think if there's enough cards in hand...
Does play the 2 Dusclops. Oh, no, one is in the prizes. So we'll be forced to use Dust Noir.
No, Dust Noir does get us there, though.
Yeah.
Let's just count this out. Dust Noir, Curse Blast to put 130 damage. Oh, gonna go for the Fez instead.
The Dust Noir is in the discard pile, so we'll have to use a Night Stretcher to get back that Dust Noir. The Pheasantipity, the Flip the Script will find you further resources here, so it's whether Noah can find now that Dragapult EX and the Night Stretcher here.
Tell you what, though, that deck's getting thin. That deck's getting thin.
Does have another Ultra Ball, fortunately, so we'll have to, unfortunately, use that Ultra Ball on another Dracloak if he wants to just try again. But I think you need too much now. Yeah,
I think at this point you just say, okay, we came close. We was in the right ballpark. Let's just fire off an attack.
Yeah, Alberto's going to be really, really happy to see no optimal play here. Oh, does go for the Counter Catcher. I really do like this play. Not activating Flip the Script, not taking knockout on the Monkey Dory will mean that Alberto is going to stick to that hand of 2 and only the draw 1 for turn. It's whether Alberto can weather the storm now. Can he get... Oh, this I think is a Brock Scouting.
Could have done with that a couple turns ago.
Yeah, at least he'll be able to find 2 Dreepy at this point, but nothing else in the hand.
I guess you can move away some damage with your Adrenablade Monkey Dory at the very least. But Scouting could have done with that under Itchy Pollen Lock. That's a reason why we see this card get used now. Supporter, letting you grab any 2 basic Pokemon you like or 1 evolution Pokemon. So at any point in the game, realistically, it's helpful. Alberto would have loved to have seen it earlier on that Itchy Pollen Lock. However, you know, that hasn't been the way the cookies crumbled. So now we're going to see double Dreepy.
Yeah, important not taking a prize card for Noah as well. Those Counter Catchers now still live, right? So at least next turn for Noah, you're still able to take advantage of being a couple of prizes, a prize down. Alberto going for that Blood Moon Ursaluna, usually used against the Dragapult to hide behind that big HP cost of 260. A lot of security in that card. Players are usually really comfortable hiding behind that Pokemon specifically. This is really grasping at straws, you feel like, for Alberto. Just attaching one there, looking to manual retreat into the Munkidori. We can see some mind bend going on now on that Dragapult. Does Noah have a way of getting around that confusion?
I'm not sure. We've seen Rescue Ball get attached already. Oh, wait, no, he does play a switch. It's a 4th gen switch, and it's currently in the hand.
Yes.
I remember seeing it.
Does have the one switch. Here we see the Mind Bend off the Pheasantipity. That's definitely going to be the way to play for that one, just because it keeps Pheasantipity out of the range of a flying entry knockout in those later turns.
It certainly does. So we are going to see Adrenaline Brain into the Dragapult plus Mind Bend as a confused Dragapult. We know switch is currently in hand. Recon Directive. Night Stretcher will still be a fantastic card at this point in the game to utilize that Dust Noir. Recon Directive.
I think you really want to try and find Gust on this Dreepy here and take a knockout on the Dreepy and Pheasantipity, right? Point.
There we do see the switch. That's going to, and then an immediate retreat into Rescue Ball. But there's the boss's orders into Blood Moon Ursaluna.
I do like this as well, because Blood Moon Ursaluna is not a fantastic card to get out of the active either.
Really not.
Alberto does just play that one switch. No other switching outs, and you feel like if he does find any way of getting further resources in the hand, he has to be using it to get more Pokemon out, right? I think for Noah as well, he's trying to go around this. He's trying to say, how can I not take a knockout right now? Because it's difficult to say. I don't think he'll outright knockout this Pheasantipity. And I don't think he'll take a knockout on anything. No, I think he just goes for the sprinkle approach and try and wipe the board clean.
And the Adrenaline Brain can move 30 damage off straight away, so that GP will be safe. And that's going to be a KO, a mid-turn KO on the Dracloak. Alberto Conti takes a second prize card. Actually, 2 prize cards ahead, funnily enough, despite what the board state would tell you.
Yeah, finds a Night Stretcher from those prizes. Does have Body Poppin in hand, can find some more Pokemon, but it's whether he wants to at this point. Whether he's just going to accept that I'm just going to stick with this 1 or 2 Dreepy. He does find a Badoo now. I feel like a Badoo is pretty dangerous to bench. Yeah, just go with a Dreepy.
Can't be benching that.
No, definitely not. 30 HP is way too vulnerable, and it's just a pass.
By the looks of it. Flip the Script is currently live, thanks to that Adrenaline Brain KO. 1, 2, 3. Boss's orders. Wow.
Yeah, Noah's got so many opportunities to take this game now in his favor. Well, it's already in his favor, but tip it even further in his favor, I should say. And still being 2 prizes down, he still has Counter Catcher. He doesn't even need to use the boss if possible. Just eyeing up that Dust Noir now as well.
If we see the Night Stretcher, we really are unlocking the turn here.
Yeah.
Arven, I imagine Arven is going to find the Night Stretcher of Benjamin, and that means we're going to have an extra 130 damage to play with. What could this be piecing together?
Now, this is going to be really interesting, going for that Curse Blast,
Candy?
And then Night Stretcher for the other Curse Blast. Does he take game here? This is 100 damage spread on the board, and now taking 1, 2, 3, 6 prizes.
6 prize turn. Goodness gracious me. Noah with the Curse Blast, able to go from 6 prize cards down to 0 in one fell swoop. Phantom diving his way to victory here in our game 2 here in top 4. Wow, the patience on display there from Noah, saying, right, I'm not taking these prize cards now. I'm going to not activate your Pheasantipity. I'm going to clean it all up in one disastrous turn for Alberto, and now this is an even match, Benjamin.
Yeah, this is a real slow and steady match here for Noah. This is a perfect example of how to play this deck specifically. I think it's just kind of slow, be patient, like you said, establish a board state, you know, kind of drip and drab all of this damage on your opponent's board. We thought, oh, you can take a knockout on the Monkey Dory here, but why not? Why should I? Let's just put some damage on this Pheasantipede. Let's establish it for the later turns. Although Alberto still has that Monkey Dory Adrenabrain in the active, it wasn't enough to take enough damage off board at one given time. And with 2 Phantom Dives in connection with 2 Curse Blast, you know, we were doing the math behind here. We were saying 50, 50 again. Is this enough to take a 6 prize game? And it certainly was. Pheasantipede there, only 30 damage, I believe, away from... No, sorry, it was 1 damage away from being knocked out there. And of course, with the Blood Moon as Luna, with already so many damage counters on it, 50 on the Dreepy, 50 on the Dreepy, putting them 20 away from each. It was perfect maths.
It really was. You couldn't really write it better than that. I have to say, Benjamin, that was poetry in motion. Noah did everything he could there, weathered the storm. And now, everybody, viewers at home, this is essentially a best of 1 for our last finalist slot here in the Utrecht Special Championship. Alberto Conti on the left, Noah on the right. Both players will be trying. Here's our prize cards. Unfair Stamp is prized, Rescue Board, and for Noah, the Cleffer Duskull. Both Duskulls, actually.
Yes, both.
And we saw just how important they were in the last game for Noah. However, here we go. Game 3 here in our top 4 feature match. The winner of this game will find themselves in the final with a chance to call themselves the Utrecht champion.
Does have 1 Duskull available with those 2 prize now, so it does play 3. So it is going to be a real important strategy. So you imagine just playing more than a couple of them would be the optimal way of playing it. And of course, with connection to countercatcher as well. But they both play 3, you know?
Yep.
This is a real slow archetype. It's real slow and steady, hiding behind Itchy-Pollen, like we've already said. And, you know, establishing the board state well enough in those later turns to start utilizing the effects of these countercatcher and use those INOs effectively for maximum disruption. Holucha start, by the way, for Alberto. That's not fantastic.
No, it's not. So if Pokemon has a coming into play ability, so you don't really want to start it, because that means unless you Professor Chora it, which Alberto does not play, that's just going to be a dead bench spot for the rest of the game. And it's a basic Pokemon with 170 hit points with no chance to evolve out of that. It's not 70 hit points is not a lot to hit for a Dragapult archetype, let me tell you.
No, certainly not. And especially when you play your own Holucha as well. Flying entry, putting 10 damage on 2 of the benched your opponent's benched Pokemon. It makes those Dreepies and other Pokemon in the formats that, you know, are 70 HP well within range of that Phantom Dive. It's exactly why they play it, these Dragapult players. And the Buddy Puff in the first check of the deck here, just looking through the prizes, seeing what's available to him, and nothing else much in the hand. No supporters
either. So is this going to find a Dracloak here, just so you can try and start recon directing next turn? Yeah, looks like it is. Could be a very important Dracloak there, everyone watching, viewers at home. But has got Budew in the active, which is very good. Yeah,
can hide behind the security of Budew for at least a couple of turns, you'd imagine.
Here we go, Alberto's first turn of the game in our game 3 here in our top 4B feature match here, the Utrecht Special Championship. He's not playing very... Oh, does have the Arven, though?
Yeah, it does have Arven, unfortunately. Can find a rescue board and a Buddy Puff in. It's usually how it goes right now with these Dragapult decks. Can find a Dreepy and a potential Budew. Start disrupting your opponent. But for Noah, fortunate enough for him, does have 2 Dracloak in hand now. So those recon directives are going to be thick and fast next turn for Noah. You feel like Noah has the better setup of the 2 right now. Only 1 Arven, no other Bull Search, no Buddy Puffin in hand for Alberto. Oh, sorry, there was Ultra Ball in hand. At least he has a couple of options available to him. So let's see how he navigates this hand.
It's definitely not the easiest one. As I iron up the Luxurious Cape, since the rescue board is currently prized.
Oh, yes.
Could take that or the Bravery Charm, actually, but that could be iron up Luxurious Cape. Is a HP boosting tool card as well, Luxurious Cape. Boost the non-Rulebox Pokemon is attached to hit points by 100. That sounds good, right? There's a bit of a downside, though, unfortunately. If it gets KO'd via damage, you do take an extra prize card your opponent does for carrying it.
Yeah, I really love this EXP share as well in the Dragapult deck. You know, there's no inherent energy acceleration in the deck. There's no Crispin. There's no cards like, you know, Teal Mask, Ogapon, nothing similar to that sort of standard. So at least the EXP share, you have the security of, if I attach to one of my GP, I can attach my EXP share to the other. So at least that energy's safe on board.
Yeah.
At least I have that security behind me. And the Ultra Ball's definitely being ironed up here. You feel like you have to attach to a Dreepy here. And of course, you have to save 1 energy for the manual retreat here with that rescue ball being prized. Actually getting rid of the EXP.
Yeah, after all that, yeah. I mean, you are correct. In ideal circumstances, it's a terrific card. However, when you need this card fodder, you need to, well, discard it really, and you have to preemptively play this Ultra Ball, because if it wasn't to play it now, and you get Itchy Pollen, you'd be kicking yourself really, wouldn't you? You'd be like, oh, I could have guaranteed this Drakloak, so having to play it now. Get it out of the hand. Bravery Charm. It's a brave Budu. Love to see it. We're going to turn attach Luminous Energy, pay that, use that to retreat, I should say, and it's going to be Itchy Pollen for 10 damage. No, I cannot play any item cards.
This is really the devil's advocate, because although you're Ultra Balling for the Drakloak, you know, you're having the understanding that you are going to be Itchy Pollen's next turn. If Noah is able to find some sort of gust on that one Dreepy, you know, this isn't great for Alberto. No other supporter in hands, no draw supporter to say, no other further Dreepy, nothing else in hand.
I tell you what,
Noah can capitalize on this pretty early on.
Noah was very close as well. Actually has the psychic energy of the second recon directive. Did draw into a Jack as well to evolve. Only needed the boss's orders at this point. We've been able to Dragon Headbutt the Dreepy, but hasn't got the boss laws, I think, by the looks of it. Yeah,
don't even need to evolve to take a knockout on this Dreepy. Can just Dragon Headbutt. And with no further threats on board, you feel like that Drakloak's going to be doing some considerable damage over some turns. But it is just going to be the Itchy Pollen, and Alberto will be able to evolve into that Drakloak, and you feel he's recon directive straight away. What? Give me something good, come on. Can I find a supporter? Can I find any other way to get out of this situation? Let's see what you have, Alberto. I think it was an Ultra Ball he's choosing here. Can see what else he was choosing. There's the manual attachment.
Did need that. Did need a turn attachment at the very least. And just the Itchy Pollen back. Now, I think Noah has a pretty good hand here. Recon directive, going to draw 2. Well, guess put 1 into the hand, but does have that Jock in the hand. Benjamin, that means Dragapult EX is not very far away. And then the Budu has a free retreat cost, so it's not going to be hard getting play as well. Second recon directive, Fire Energy, I know.
Couldn't find that all-important boss for this
that would have been dreamy.
I don't know whether you just Itchy Pollen again and take the fact that you could be knocked out next turn by another Itchy Pollen. At least then your countercatcher is alive at that point. This is the first recon directive, right?
No, second.
It's the second.
Second one.
So definitely can't find boss any other way now. Maybe you want to just take a couple of turns to set up some dust. Well, you have the Duskull in hand already. Yeah, it's going to be, or maybe some further Dreepy. Unsure where Noah's going to take this one now.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, can obviously use the Jack to get Dragapult X if he likes, or it depends. You want to do that, or would you rather, you know, slow this game down a bit more? But it looks like the Jack is being played. Now, are we going to see the double EX here? Or are you going to try and hold on to 1 for the recon directive? Okay. Jack, a terrific supporter card, a card that gets played in response to Budu, since it is a supporter-based Pokemon search card, letting you grab any 2 evolution Pokemon you like.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, if you take Knockout here, you unlock so much potential out of Alberto's deck. You unlock the counter catches. You know, the Unfair Stamp is, unfortunately for Alberto, it is prized. But, you know, you unlock so much potential out of Alberto's deck. The top deck of the Ino, so important there, Shay, for Alberto.
It really was.
This is going to be a real important INO now. And with that Jack being played from Noah, he does know that that Dragapult EX is in hand at this point.
Yep, and the other Drakloak are not super relevant right now, but you know what's in the hand. Knowledge is power. Let's have a look. Recon directive being used. Dragapult EX hitting the board.
I think you just INO now and just see if you can find any further ways of getting Dreepy out for the later turns if you take a knockout on this Budu.
There we go.
The Pheasantipity and the INO coming down.
Right, this is a very important INO. Both players will put their hand to the bottom of the deck and draw 6. Let's see how this works here for Alberto. Would you start Phantom Diving here? Or do you just keep Itchy Pollening? Probably Itchy Pollen, right?
I think you Itchy Pollen here. You know, if you take the knockouts, you know, you unlock so much potential out of Noah's deck now. The counter catchers, sorry, I keep calling custom catchers. Counter catchers are live now for Noah if you take this knockout. That's why the Bravery Charm's so good in this specific matchup. Because those Badoo, you know, Itchy Pollen mind games, okay, you knock out mine, I knock out yours, you know, it's a little bit of an awkward way of playing. And here we see the knockout for Alberto going one prize up in this game. But Noah, what have you got for us?
Oh, no, it's Impressive Research. I was about to say, all we had there was Arven and a load of item cards. There was an Ino as well. Now, do you go for the Ino? Do you go for Professor's Research?
There's so many different ways you could play this now.
Yeah,
you know, you could have used Horlucha on that Dreepy and the Pheasantipity, you know, gust up that Pheasantipity and take a 3-prize turn. You know, there's so many different ways you can play this now at this point.
We do see Ino. There is a Dragapult EX in that hand.
Yes, I feel like you have to start doing Phantom Dive at this point. I feel like you have to start applying pressure. As soon as that Badoo's gone for any Dragapult player, it's go time at that point, right?
We did draw into a Badoo there off the Recon Directive. So if you really wanted to and did take it, you could slow the game back down again.
Yeah, I can go for another Badoo.
Yeah, that's what looks like that's what we're going to see.
I think the threat is here, though, that Alberto, if he's able to find Gust, that Badoo, that 30 HP cost is really, really low.
Yeah.
At least he knows that Horlucha has been down now, so wouldn't be able to take any sort of knockouts on the Dracloak or potentially the another Dreepy. So yeah, I think the manual attachment, I think what I would love to see here from Alberto is a double prize knockout.
I mean, you even open up the door to a Monkey Dory mid-turn KO onto the Badoo as well. Depends on how the Ino treated Alberto. Let's see what he has cooking. Does have a Luminous Energy in hand? Is the Monkey Dory about? Oh, I don't think it is.
Any other way, but does have
Recon Directive could get us the House of Joyce into exactly that, or Brock Scouting.
What does he find?
Let's see what it is. Debating the hand again.
Alberto can take a 3-prize turn here if he does find that Monkey Dory. Monkey Dory onto the Badoo, then just knock out whatever's inactive and that Duskull on the bench.
Orders was taken from there, though.
Yeah,
that would be good.
I feel like that's still pretty good.
Yeah.
Knocking out one of these Dracloaks and the Duskull, if you still find that as a threat. I think the more you start winning the game, however, the more you're taking prize cards, the less threatening that Duskull is. Of course, Noah doesn't want to be using any sort of Duskull shenanigans if Alberto is close to winning the game.
Yeah, I'd love, KO a Dracloak. I think there's actually a Fire Energy in a discard pile. You want to chase Fire Energy, perhaps? Or no, ignore me. Going to go for the Psychic Energy.
Well, at least if he does have an out to the Fire Energy, you can't attach double Fire and do the
sorry, I got it the wrong way around in my head.
I knew exactly what you were going for.
So you do see Phantom Dive into the active, 200 damage, 6 damage counter spread to the benched Duskull. 2 prize cards there for Alberto. And you know what the scary thing is? That Badoo is still only on 30 hit points. That means that Monkey Dory can come down.
Yeah, and I think what I like actually about knocking out the Duskull, the Badoo's on board forever now, right?
Yeah.
And it's within 30 HP of knockout, so you can Monkey Dory on the later turn or take an easy Phantom Dive knockout. So yeah, I like this. I like the comfortable approach to this one and saying, right, that Badoo, I really don't see it as a threat. Itchy Pollen me if you like. It doesn't really matter to me.
Yeah. I think the time for Itchy Pollen is probably gone now, unless you're weaving a boss's orders as well. But you know, when you got Phantom Dive barreling down and you can't really be Itchy Pollen this, we're going to see an evolution into Dragapult EX, a turn attach as well.
Yep, no Duskull on board either, so can't even do any sort of knockouts on any sort of Dracloak or the Horlucha or that Badoo. That Badoo's pretty tanky still, does have 50 damage left on it as well. Yeah. So can't take any sort of, well, if you're going to be taking knockout on it with Phantom Dive, you're only leaving one more damage counter to spread on board.
Yeah, it does have Night Stretcher and Counter Catcher currently live though. Night Stretcher to grab back Dreepy, love to see that. We are going to have a backup Dreepy at some point. Professor's Reset. Oh, not playing the counter catcher. Okay.
Yeah, I think doing some damage to this Dragapult now is where your priorities are, because you're so far back in the game now. You know, you haven't even taken a prize yet. Alberto's taken 3. You know, that Night Stretcher going for the Dreepy. I think the dream of using the Curse Blast from any Dusclops or Duskull is gone at this point. Just because you have that Badoo on board. It's such an easy prize card to take, you know.
Did draw into Halucha here. I wonder if we're going to see Halucha. That will help you reach into the Badoo without having to waste all your damage counters, perhaps. Pheasantipity will hit the board.
You can put 10 damage on that Pheasantipity as well. And the Halucha, put it within range of that Phantom Dive. Pheasantipity, of course, you would have to gust it up in order to do 200 damage to it for that knockout, but I think Noah now is safe to assume that he'll be down on prize cards for the majority of this game at this point.
Yeah. So there's Flip the Script, draw 3. Night Switcher, Nest Ball, and was that Basic Fire, I believe it might have been?
Game is on board now for Alberto.
It is.
You know, a Monkey Dory onto the Pheasantipity and then a Phantom Dive onto that Badoo. That is 3 prize cards, easy to take. But Noah seeing the prioritization in the Flip the Script to find further resources to try and disrupt Alberto. I think Ino is probably the way forward at this point for Noah. I don't know if he's got it in hand. I think it's just Phantom Dive now.
Yep.
Phantom Dive for 200.
Okay. Big turn here. Now, where are these 6 damage counters going? It's going to be really impactful, actually. 6 damage counters to play. Now, you said we could knock out Badoo. Oh, all six on the Drakloak.
Okay, interesting.
Okay.
I would have imagined to see one on the Pheasantipity. Yeah, but does still have Halucha as an option, so can always just do Halucha onto that Pheasantipity if he wishes so.
Yeah, I think Alberto hasn't got the boss's orders. Does have Arven, so he could go grab.
I think
could go grab Monkey Dory, but not quite actually.
I think putting 60 damage on that Drakloak, at least you're trying to. If you're taking a knockout on this Dragapult this next turn, you're at least unloading damage onto a further Dragapult later down the line.
Yes.
So seeing the threat in that, Noah is. So
we're seeing some Puffin fails, just getting them out the hand, getting them out the deck. You imagine an Ino will be coming soon. Don't want to be drawing into Buddy Puffin anymore, so how about we get them clean out the hand? So if they do get put in the deck, you're not going to draw back into them. Love to see that.
Yeah. And just shuffling the deck up here now. Alberto still has some to do in order to take this game. The first recon directive now. What does he see? I think it was a Drakloak
and a Monkey. Oh no,
Drakloak
and an Ace Nullified Genesect.
Yes.
In case you
I don't mind taking the Genesect.
Yeah, good card.
Probably the best option out of the 2. Now the Arven coming down.
Here's the Arven. In case you are joining us, this is our game 3 in our top 4B feature match here. The winner of this game you are watching now will find themselves in the final of our Utrecht Championship. Alberto Conti, currently his turn on the left, doing everything he can after winning a cheeky game 1. Now he's going to try and win this game 3. And Noah doing everything he can to stop him. So Arven concludes for Ultra Ball and Luxurious Cape.
Yeah, and eyeing up that Monkey Dory, oh so important. I think he's going to be cementing this card on board now. The Adrenabrain does have Luminous Energy in hand as well for the attachment. So can already put that Adrenabrain well and truly in this game. Now, oh, well, actually, good points. The Drakloak having 60 damage on it, even if it was Adrenabrained, the 30 damage off, it's still within range of a Phantom Dive. Yeah, really good play from Noah there. You can tell these are well-seasoned Dragapult players. It's all about the damage counters. It's all about what's possible from your opponent to get around these damage counters.
That is a good point, actually, yeah, because you can't KO this active Dragapult EX, right? So Alberto can be a bit of trouble because you obviously KO active and KO Drakloak at the same time, and how does Alberto get back in the game at that point?
Yeah, and what's interesting is he's not going for the evolution of the Drakloak, right? Because you still need draw support.
There we go. That
board.
Makes sense. The Luxurious Cape, that'll boost the hit points by 100. So now the Drakloak is safe. So we are going to see the Phantom Dive, 200 damage into the active, 6 damage counters to place. It's going to be 1 on Pheasantipity, 5 on Dreepy, and 200 on the active. Alberto Conti learning that this damage will be sticking because there is no Monkey Dory for Noah.
I think at this point for Noah, it's just going to be trying to disrupt as much as possible. I know will put Alberto only to 3 cards in hand, and not evolving that Dracloak still gives Alberto the recon directive. He still had the Dragon Ball in hand, but he knows that it's more than likely that Noah's going to be eyeing up an INO play next turn. So really well played from Alberto, going for the luxurious cape on that Dracloak, increasing his damage, like you said, increasing his HP, like you said, to by 100 to 190. That's a big old Dracloak.
It really is.
And even if Noah does want to take a knockout on that Dracloak, he will still have to gust, and plus he's still not dealing with that main threat of that active Dragapult DX. So yeah, all to do for Noah at this point.
Really is going to play that buddy point from like it's failing. I do that often. Just look at my deck. What have I got to work with? How can I get out of this? Failing a Nest Ball. I would imagine we're going to see an INO coming down here. At least Noah trying his best to get to the INO at the very least. I think you can't let Alberto continue the hand size. Well, just try and disrupt at the very least. Hasn't got a 2-card hand at the very possible, but shuffling up. This could be a very big recon directive here. Could decide the fate of this top 4. What have we got? INO. Luxurious cape as well.
Yeah, there's so much that Noah has to deal with.
What are we looking for here? Dusclops can't use that at the moment in time.
Can't use any of them.
No, good point.
Noah has so much to deal with here. Alberto has so much on board that he has to consider. He has the Pheasantipity, he has the Monkey Dory, the Dracloak, the Dragapult. There's so many things that Noah has to consider.
Oh, there's a return luxurious cape on the Dracloak. These are some luxurious Dracloak from here, there, and everywhere. And it looks like there is the INO. Okay, Alberto will have a 3-card hand concluding this. Noah will have a 6-card hand. This could be very important, Benjamin. Let's see how the INO treats both of our players. Unfair stamp as well. I mean, you could get that hand size back down to 2 if you really wanted and give yourself a fresh hand of 5.
I think you do go for that. I think it still limits Alberto to just only 2 cards. You know, he's going to be he's INO'd him down to 3. It's whether he thinks that Alberto's established a good hand in that last turn, because that would have been on the bottom of the deck. So maybe an unfair stamp. He's thinking, maybe I don't want you to see those cards again.
Did Alberto take a prize last turn? I don't think he did, actually.
No, he didn't.
Okay, so Unfair Stamp isn't live. Apologise there. Just got excited when I saw the ace spec. But here we do see Phantom Dive into action. Now, that's going to be a KO. Now, where is this 6 damage counters going?
I feel like you have to put 1 on the Pheasantipity at this point, definitely.
Yep.
I think for Alberto, you know, the game is definitely on board for Alberto. It's just 1 simple gust now. Oh, no, not even gust. You can still Phantom Dive the active for knockouts. So it's finding that fire energy and the Dragapult. Pheasantipity is live now with the flip the script. So it's awkward. It's awkward now. And for Noah, it's how can I take multiple prize turns at this point? Wow. 6 prizes as well.
This is very close. As you say, a Phantom Dive for Alberto wins the game because Adrenabrain can move 30 damage off any one of those Pokemon onto Badoo. That's a 1 prize knockout there. 2 prize cards with KO, active Dragapult EX. Can Alberto Conti announce Phantom Dive this turn? Night Stretcher. Ultra Ball. That's got it, right? Night Stretcher gets you the other energy. Ultra Ball finds you Dragapult EX. There's Night Stretcher. Attach, evolve, retreat, Phantom Dive, and Alberto Conti books himself a ticket to the final here in Utrecht Special Championship.
Yeah, what a fantastic game from Alberto. Had the perfect hand at the end of that there. Although Noah, despite doing as much as he possibly could to try and disrupt